B20. Basically homeless. Aunt offers me to stay in the summer cottage that belonged to my family. Cool, no rent. Spend summer in the family cottage. 15-minute drive from the nearest town. The place has no electricity, but it does have a diesel generator that powers the place. However, it's really loud. Organize and clean during the day. Sleep when it gets dark. Be completely alone. One day, after being there for almost a week, hear disembodied talking around me. No biggie. Maybe some group of people walking nearby. At night, I turn on the generator for lighting and charging my stuff. Inside the cottage, hear disembodied laughing. Like mischievous children or chipmunk effect laughing. And it sounds like it's close. Sometimes in different tones and at random intervals. Sometimes 5 cackles in a row. Sometimes 1, randomly followed by hours of silence. I believed it was a generator making vibrations in the wood. I told myself that to ease the nerves. Around 10 p.m., turn off the generator. Complete silence. I can hear the wind cracking through the windows. The laughing returns, but this time, sounds like it's coming from outside. I decide to ignore it. Many weeks later, see Aunt. Told her about the laughing and the generator. She tells me,
OMG, Anon. You hear them too?
Hear what?
The gnomes.
She tells me that almost everyone has heard them, and kids can see them. And the whole forest is infested with them. And she said that Grandma said, if you are good, you can hear them, but only those who are pure can see them. She calls them duendes. B. From Peru, Ayacucho. B. On the countryside, playing with my brother. Something appears before us. His skin is like wood, hair thick but clean. His cloth is just bright and shiny, but his eyes are eerily black, and his height cannot be more than 40 centimeters. My brother pulls me his way and takes my arm. The duende starts talking.
Don't worry, kid. I'm just bored and want to play with you.
While grinning. My brother shouts, we don't want to, and that he should leave. Duende takes out green coins and says,
I'm gonna bet these, kiddo, and each grants you a wish.
My brother responds,
And what could you possibly want from us?
The duende starts,
You will give me 3 bottles of wine that your parents keep for each coin.
We looked at each other and said, deal, as the game started. We played canicas. For those of you that don't know, you draw a circle and have to throw the balls on the circle with yours. We played and played until a wow resounded. Me and my brother looked and saw our dog growling at the duende. He stood up and said,
Well, I think we played enough for now, but someday we will settle this, kids.
Took all the things in his pockets and said,
I will keep these until then.
When my brother and I, and the dog, returned to the house, we found out 4 days had passed, and all the village was looking for us. We told them what happened, and we were beaten because we did not listen. This happens a lot here, X. Kids just disappear, and the news and government say it's because of traffic of children and that bullshit. But in this sierra, we know it's because of duendes. They mess up your senses of time and space and lure you with their wealth. I have returned each year to that village on summer, but each time I just leave 3 bottles of wine with my brother and ask to wait a little longer until we are older. A part of my family are from the countryside, Campo and Español. They all live in a small town near the mountains and a sort of plains combined with forest. My cousins were enjoying the countryside near the town. In the place where they hang out, there is, or was, a shitty old colonial house. Time goes by, and most of them are drunk, and everyone is inside the house. The thing is that someone wants to take a shit or pee. They have to leave the house because the bathroom is outside. One of the girls goes to the bathroom. When she was outside, everyone hears a scream and run outside. My cousin, the one that was in the bathroom, is freaked out because something opened the door while she was peeing. Describes that thing as an old midget man with a spooky smile, white beard. Everyone is freaked out because that's what we call a duende. They get inside the house. When suddenly everyone is inside, they start to hear steps outside. Suddenly, no more steps, and that thing is running towards the house now. They started hearing more and more of those things running outside the house. Absolute fear, and now they're praying. No one sleeps that night, and never return to the house. Sorry for my English. I'm from Chile, and this could be the worst green text ever. Duendes are part of the local myth of the people who live in the campo. So, before I start the small story, I like to say, I think the OP got the word wrong. I'm not sure. I think he meant to put el enano, but in the story he calls it el enano. I'm just gonna go with el enano, since that's what he wrote. Anyways, on to the story. All this reminds me of a story of el enano. El enano is a little being. Looks a bit like Gollum from the Hobbit cartoon. Always hungry. Comes into a tiny Latin American village. Starts eating all their food. Villagers, not strong enough to stop him. He attacks them if they try. One smart lady throws 2 round smooth rocks on a campfire and yells for el enano as he goes from hut to hut, eating up everything. Tells him,
There are 2 potatoes cooking in that fire.
El enano snatches the hot rocks out of the fire and gobbles them up. Rocks start burning his insides. He runs to the stream, gulps down water. Hot rocks turn the water into steam. El enano explodes. No more El enano. My dad has told the story several times since I was a child. He is now over 65 years old, and this happened when he was 7 or 8 years old. Be my dad as a kid in late 1950s. He lived in a rural zone in a small town in Tamaulipas, northeastern Mexico. Walking his way to/from home a couple of miles. He was alone. Mexican old schoolers aren't scared. There's a bull calf with a rope tied from the neck to a wood stake. It's moving and lifting dust. Dad gets closer. Now he can tell calf is moving desperately side to side, all around the stake, as long as the rope allows to. Then he sees them. Calf has 4 or 5 little humanoid beings over, grabbing him from neck, tail, and legs. Dad says they look translucent, just like Predator or Halo camouflage, but were no more than 50 centimeters tall. He says he could still remember them. They looked like they were having so much fun. I'd EK if literally, but he says he shat his pants and ran away. Have to mention, my dad is mostly skeptical for this stuff, but says that's what his eyes saw. I live in North Argentina, near the border with Bolivia. Grandma and sisters lived in a very far away area. Day and a half by horse to get to their house. Someday, a stone hit the house after they arrived from the city. From that day, non-stop stoning to the house. And anyone coming near the house. Man of the house, start firing at the forest. Nothing. Doggos didn't do anything. Like if it wasn't something bad. Only in the middle of cattle found peace. Called priest. Didn't even go. They all became sick from stress after 3 months of day and night stoning. Someday, old woman comes, picked up a stone, and said,
Duendes.
Drank some mate and went alone to the woods, speaking like she was telling off a kid. Yo te voy a enseñar que andas apedrando donde hay chicos. Basically translates, I'm gonna teach you a lesson, throwing stones at children. Immediately stops. Woman comes back, doesn't want money. Some more mate and goes. My grandma told me the story. I asked her sister without telling her what exactly she told me. It was the exact same story.